Ladies and gentlemen, the following episode is scheduled for one fall. Coming down the aisle are your hosts of In The Kliq, Baby Huey and Ryan Tronic.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me once again is my tag team partner from the Fight Game Media podcast. It's John LaRocca. What's going on, man?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Baby Huey?
I'm doing awesome. Super excited to have you back on In The Kliq. It's going to be a very fun, special episode. We're here to talk about all the highlights from yesterday's big AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Forbidden Door pay-per-view. But I'm excited that you reached out to me. You wanted to talk about this show, so thank you for making the time to be on here.
Hey, man, this is not a Forbidden Door. This is an open door. So that's...
Literally in my household right now, it's a open door. I got family members coming in and out of the office here right now. So yeah, the Delmore Casa is always an open door here.
Well, you just never know. I might have a run in or two from the kids or maybe the cat. You never know. It could be crazy. But yeah, I'm excited about this show. It's a pretty big show, I guess. Lot of discord going on about it. So.
Yeah. Literally, I need to get on Discord. I know that's like the new place to chat now amongst the Fight Game Media people. So I know Garrett sent me the link a while ago, and I keep forgetting to just log in and be part of the conversation on there.
I'm barely on it. It's just so much. There's so much conversation, all these different threads. It's hard for me to keep up, but also I just get so busy, and I gotta check into it more. I know I'm kind of like, doing my own thing, I guess. I gotta check in every once in a while. Yeah,
I do miss the Fight Game Facebook group that was going on, but I know there are reasons why it's no longer around now. But no, the Discord knows a new place to have conversations, and so I've been meaning to get in there and just check out what's going on. I know there's a lot of fun wrestling talk on there. But yes, no, I'm very excited to have you back on. It's been long overdue, and as you said, this is a very important time right now to get you on and talk about Forbidden Door. Second year in a row now that AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling have worked together. Definitely, I see like the common description is it's very much like an all-star game as far as you got the best of AEW versus the best of New Japan Pro Wrestling, having a bunch of dream matches coming together. Last year was in Chicago, this year in Toronto, which is always interesting just to see how different crowds react to all these wrestlers. I mean, I know the arena is filled with a bunch of hardcore fans, so it's going to be a hot, fun crowd. But let's start big and just kind of some of our big general takeaways. What's your overall thoughts on the show? And then I kind of want to ask some like little fun detail set related questions. But overall, just kind of your general takeaways from this show.
Overall, I had a good time watching it. I thought it flowed pretty well. I thought some of the match order was a little questionable after the fact, but I overall I liked it. I thought there was a lot of good matches and good wrestling. I mean, it's like you said, it's a show for the hardcores, Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure it's going to do well, as well as on the pay-per-view buys too. So I mean, it's an event that everyone's going to probably look forward to every year. They're going to keep doing it. The only person probably not looking forward to is Adam Cole because something always bad happens for him on Forbidden Door. So he's the one that hates Forbidden Door, but I kind of wish they would kind of change that name, Forbidden Door. I know it's all trademarked now, but it's not forbidden anymore to show up every other week. But it's just. I
was going to say they have a working relationship. It's not so much forbidden. Like, oh my God, like this is like a big, I don't know what's the word I'm trying to think. Not conspiracy, but like shock value. It's like, they have a working relationship and they work with each other throughout the year. So it's not, nothing's forbidden here. It's open arms as you said. So, no, but overall I'm with you. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's so trippy because I know a lot of people want to compare AEW versus WWE.
Yeah.
Especially now, WWE in the Triple H head of creative era over the last coming up on a year now, his pay-per-views premium live events, no more than 7 matches. I want to say he's kind of had that model with the takeovers back in the day. It was generally 5 or 6 matches. Now on the main roster, it's 6-7 matches max. I know WrestleMania had a couple more each night for night 1 and night 2, but no more than I don't think. I gotta double check. I'm just off the top of my head. I don't think he's ever had a premium live event in the last year with more than 8 matches, I want to say. But versus AEW, Tony Khan loves his double digits. On this, I'm looking at Wikipedia here, 14 matches for Forbidden Door. I mean, but other pay-per-views over the last couple of years, he's had 15, 16 matches. So I see arguments for both sides. Like for Triple H, you get a lot of breathing room, you got downtime, but then you can insert a lot of commercials on Peacock and sponsorship opportunities. Yeah. I kind of like that, like having a break. I can collect my thoughts, tweet something out. I like that downtime.
Go get a refill of something.
Exactly. Use the bathroom. AEW, literally, I was like, I think by 2/3 into the show, I was crossing my legs, like I gotta go to the bathroom, man. I finally had to get up and rush during some of the entrances just to go to the bathroom. But but then again, you're buying pay-per-view. You're not streaming on, or you're not watching like on Peacock where you pay like a monthly fee. This is like a one-time fee for the pay-per-view. So I see the argument there. You get your money's worth. You're spending your hard-earned money on a pay-per-view. Tony Khan's going to deliver a lot of matches, a lot of bang for your buck. So I see both sides. But I want to ask about the setup. So now we know AEW has 2 main shows now. You got Dynamite on Wednesdays, Collision's on Saturday. And the Collision set debuted last weekend. And it looked like this is more or less the Collision set they use for Forbidden Door. If I could tell from the screen,
because it's because the same building, they just reused it and kind of, obviously changed the graphics for the pay-per-view, But I like the entranceway. I think it looks pretty slick, and they do a good job.
It's like shiny reflection on the ground, so it kind of adds more when they walk down the ramp and stuff. So I really like the Collision setup, and I'm glad that they kind of used that model, or just as you said, just kept it up from the night before for Forbidden Door. I thought it looked great. So overall, crowd a lot of fun. So I'm glad that they're doing this. I'm kind of curious if they'll ever maybe do a Forbidden Door over in Japan, though. But I kind of imagine this is more like an AEW thing, so they're going to keep it in North America.
I think they should. They should at least do it as an experiment once. You know, it's just because, but not go crazy. I mean, New Japan does have a lot of. I don't think they do 14 matches. They've had shows with a lot of matches on it, but you kind of condense it down. And New Japan kind of does more multi-man matches. On the undercard, they have like about 4 like feature single matches or big matches. So, but I think what W does well, what Triple H does well, is that he'll put a match or 2 on SmackDown that should be pay-per-view quality to kind of make that SmackDown a nice little like preview for the pay-per-view, So I think that kind of makes it special too on that show. So I think that's what they should do at the Collision as well, like put on like, I thought Punk, I know Punk was needed for extra buys, like late extra buys, obviously. But gosh, you could have held off that Punk Kojima match till this week, for Collision.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, like Triple H, case in point, this Friday on SmackDown, he's got a couple matches there. They're pay-per-view quality. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens defending the tag titles against Pretty Deadly. Also, oh my God, what's the other? I'm blanking on it. There was another big. I just watched Raw too. So they had the previews.
Raquel and Liv versus Shayna.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, women's tag titles. That's right. You're right. And Logan Paul is going to be there too and stuff. So plus SmackDown is in London this weekend or this Friday. So I'm sure they're trying to take care of the UK crowd, having both Friday and Saturday like back-to-back days of just awesome wrestling there. But Collision this weekend. They had Tanahashi versus Swerve as well. So you got a little taste of the Forbidden Door action on Saturday.
And that amazing 8-man tag team match. I thought that match was freaking event. I love that match. That 8-man tag was just like good freaking pro wrestling. It was awesome. Of course, the atmosphere with the crowd, Toronto crowd hating CM Punk and attitude, but the wrestling quality was just off the charts. I want to see CM Punk versus Jay White. I want to see the Guns and FTR, again, I want to see, like all these matches out of that 8-man tag.
So I guess we got to talk a little collisions. Are the guns a part of Bullet Club Gold now? Is that official, or are they just?
That's what I got out of it. Right.
Okay.
That's at the end when he held the guns up, and then they all kind of. That's why I figured it was. I mean, did they have to be? I don't know, but it kind of makes sense, you know.
Okay.
I like the guns. Those kids are good. I love that entrance they have with them now. That's superstar entrance right there.
Totally.
And those kids are just a chip off the old block, dude. They're super, like Austin, super charismatic. What a hell of a bumper. Mm-hmm. Colton just has that physical size and look, and they're just great. I mean, I'm really high on those guys.
Dude, last Wednesday on Dynamite, they both sold their asses off for the Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
Like they were bumping, making the Hardy Boys look like $1 million. And they really take in the performance aspect. And, you know, then again, look who their dad is, Billy Gunn. Who was he part of? DX and the whole Attitude Era. So I'm sure there's a lot of influence there.
They get it.
Presentation. Yes.
They get it. They get
totally.
It for sure. Yeah.
And then I was going to say with CM Punk, you talk about like the reaction. What's your thoughts so far? And just, okay, Chicago Collision last week, crowd loved him. Obviously, hometown show. But now, you know, Toronto booing the hell out of him. And I imagine it's going to carry on like that. So what are your thoughts on CM Punk just kind of getting booed from everyone?
Well, I kind of expected it. You know, I didn't think he was going to be this loud. But Toronto's a special wrestling crowd, too. So we'll see how it goes in other towns. You know, I think it's going to be town by town basis. Mm-hmm. So, but Punk's a professional and he just rolls with it and has fun with it. And he's going to do his thing. And I don't know. I'm glad he's back because just like we need his presence back because like all this stuff in AEW is quality. And now he's coming back. And luckily he's done this short time. It's been quality, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think CM Punk, regardless of what you think of him, you know, from what he does behind the scenes or his behavior behind the scenes, that's a whole separate discussion. But what he brings to the table for the masses on TV and the character work and the matches he puts on, he's very valuable. And I'm with you. I'm very glad to see him back. And I'm excited what he can do on this second go around with AEW. I hope everything works out. I know the reports saying he was like on one side of the building, the Elite were on another side of the building, just separated. Because this is the first time they're all back in the building, the same building together. So everyone just kept spread apart.
Or there was that like report where someone like left a top star left the show in a bad mood, and Dave Meltzer got heat for putting that in there as observer, and then all those like mock tweets about. I was gonna do one. I thought I was gonna do one like top star leaves because CM Punk was counting up all leg slaps during the show and reporting back to Tony Khan.
No, it's interesting, and that's the thing. I think hopefully AEW can get back on track as far as just get back to the action in the ring. I feel like AEW for the last year, I feel like they get more attention for stuff behind the scenes, what goes on in the locker room, instead of just focusing on what happens in the ring. Now, granted, there are people who are spilling the beans to their sources, to reporters who are reporting on this stuff. There are people who are acting up behind the scenes as well. I mean, I wish they just get to a point where everyone could be civil, work together, and just focus on putting on entertaining television. And that way the focus goes back to the weekly television and not like who said what behind the scenes in the locker room. For me, now granted, we're in a society where we like drama and like to absorb all this stuff and like, oh, who said what? And oh my God, you hear this? And for me, it's like, let's just move on. I don't know. Let's grow up here. I don't know.
I agree. We'll see.
But this show going into Forbidden Door, I think, now granted, as we said, 14 matches, but it really was a 2-match show. It was a double co-main event here. And I think a lot of people we're really excited for these two matches here. I'm talking about, of course, Kenny Omega defending the IWGP US Championship against Will Ospreay. They had an amazing match at Wrestle Kingdom earlier this year, back in January. So this was the rematch everyone was looking forward to. And then another dream match, Bryan Danielson taking on Okada. Just a singles match, no titles on the line. It's really just more argument who's the best in the world. And very simple formula here, or motivation between the two of them. It's just like, you say you're the best in the world, I'm the best in the world. Let's just prove it, have it out in the ring. So let's go ahead. I know normally when I'm doing like a show review, I like to go from match in order as they happen, but I'm gonna try something different. Let's just talk about the main events first, because that's what everyone's talking about in the last 24 hours, especially online, the online discussion and some of your takes as well, which, by the way, John, I'm glad you were live tweeting your thoughts during the shows, Dynamite and Forbidden Door, Collision, all that stuff. I encourage everyone to follow you on Twitter.
Thank you.
And I mean, of course, like I said, I love your brain. I know Garrett on the Fight Game review for Forbidden Door was putting you over as the logic. Which
crazy.
We'll get into. We'll get
crazy.
into that.
I'm such a dirt. I just look at the logic of wrestling matches, and when I complain about it, people just I don't know why they get upset. I mean, I love Star Wars. I'm wearing a Darth Vader shirt right now.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Episode 1. But I can't defend it as a great movie. There's logic issues, and I understand there is. But, it's okay to hear criticism. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're not bashing. I don't bash. It's just I get fired up because that's how we talk in wrestling. That's how I was brought up. Like in the wrestling, we just so we see something stupid, we'd say it, and like, oh, that's dumb. What the hell? A lot of stuff wasn't getting even past the locker room discussion. Like, hey, what about this? Why would we do that? That doesn't make sense. Where's this person at? Where's the ref? Blah, blah, blah. Now it just happens on screen. And I just lose my mind because I'm like, does anyone discuss this? Anyone walk through this stuff to figure out like why this happened? That's a glaring hole, but it happens. And I just pointed out, I could say Omega and Ospreay was a good match, but there's a big issue I have with it,
I think I have the same issue too. I literally I was watching this match and I felt like I had you right there next to me because my thoughts were like, wait, why is this happening? It doesn't make sense, this and that. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the main event here, or one of the main events. So yeah, Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega. This match went almost 40 minutes, 39 minutes, 45 seconds. I know a lot of people, recency bias, it's fresh in their head. They're saying match of the year, amazing, rematch here, sequel in what I think a lot of people assume is going to be a trilogy of matches.
Yes.
I enjoyed the match a lot too. My initial reaction was I think they could have easily maybe shaved off 10 minutes and it could have been really good. I think the first 10 minutes of this match, they spent a lot of time still figuring each other out, and they were kind of taking their time, trying to work each other. I'm like, well, this is your rematch. You guys already had your first match back in January at Wrestle Kingdom. You guys know each other. So
I think a lot of that too, because that they knew that crowd's going to be really into that main event. So you want to do the slow, work way into it. Cause you want that crowd reaction of the chants. You want them to be in anticipation for you guys, the guys to hook up and start wrestling. I didn't have a problem with that. I would say I would cut the match 5 minutes short, and we can get to that when we get to that point. Where I thought they should have went home, and they just kept going.
Finally the match got going. When they got outside the ring, and Will Ospreay was really beating up Kenny Omega, threw him through the announce table, put his head through it, and Kenny Omega got busted open, was bleeding all over the place. And it really started picking up as far as with the violence going. Will Ospreay got busted open and they're both bleeding and really just laying into each other. The number of V triggers that were happening in this match was insane. And Don Callis, who came out there with Will Ospreay, also had a couple security as he promised on Dynamite,
which was just the AEW security guys with they're normal main security guys with masks or looking like Bane from Dark Knight,
I was gonna say, who was it?
A lot of people say Lance Storm was one of them, but he was not one of them.
No. Was it the Bashams or what's that old tag?
Yeah, the Bashams or whatever. Yeah. Or Linda Miles, and they could have got Jane Cargill to play that spot, I guess. But,
yeah. So,
but yeah, it was. I was liking this match until a certain point, for sure. I thought it was really good.
For me, was it early on? Don Callis gets thrown out, and the ref tells him to leave. He leaves, and then the two of them are going at it, and then. I'll let you take it. What part of the match that you're saying that kind of took it out for you?
It's funny how you say the referee threw out Don Callis, because I thought he did too, but everyone when I was watching it said no. Kenny chased him away and he ran away.
Oh, that's okay.
So that's why he came back. But then, I'm like, why did he come back like right soon after? And the part that lost me, and I was digging this match. I'm like, yeah, this is a great match. I was even saying that as I was watching it. Is when Don Callis came back out. They had They did the deal where Don Callis is like protecting Ospreay, maybe teasing he's gonna take a bullet for Ospreay with the V trigger, but he doesn't. Ospreay takes it. There's a struggle with Omega and Don Callis. Referee can't see over them because he's trying to pull off Ospreay and Omega, and so Don Callis slips Ospreay a screwdriver, which has been used, for weeks, in this feud, or build it for this feud, right?
Blackpool Combat Club, yeah.
They're taking out Hangman's eye and all this stuff, and which meant nothing. He's fine. And then later on, and then so Ospreay gets picked up in the One Wing Angel, and as a referee still jaw jacking with Don Callis, Ospreay stabs Omega in the head with the screwdriver, and I believe he rolls him up, and then Omega gets his foot on rope, right? And then so the match just continues and continues and continues. So you established this screwdriver a few months back. It comes to play here. Ultimately, it meant nothing. And then so I did not get it. That's where they lost me. Like, how can this guy's Omega survive a screwdriver, to the head? Like, I think if Ospreay went over there and cheated, we'll be like wanting that rematch, right? That third match. But people want a rematch because it's the third match because they're 1-1, not because there's no heat, not because they want to see, oh man, that Kenny Omega got screwed. I want to see revenge, No, it's just, well, they had to have a third one because they wrestled twice already.
Yeah,
no,
I'm with you. Like, everyone's already looking ahead to this third match, and like, oh, when's it going to happen? Is it going to be at Wembley or is it going to be at Wrestle Kingdom next year? Like, everyone's looking ahead past this second match, and I'm just kind of like, enjoy this match for what it is. Don't get caught up about when's the third match is going to happen. It's almost like I'm just, my first reaction is Avengers Age of Ultron. That was the second Avengers movie, but I think everyone was looking forward to Avengers versus Thanos at some point, and looking ahead down the road. And so I kind of felt like Avengers Ultron, cool movie, but everyone was like looking like, okay, no, we're waiting for the big battle after this. So I'm with you. I feel like everyone's attention is like, we're going to enjoy this, but we know there's going to be another match. So one, I was laughing too, as far as Don Callis, like, he had a little trouble getting that screwdriver out of his tight pants at first. It was like a little bit of a struggle there. I know he's a very fashion.
Should have worn his Cavaricis.
Yeah. So, but he finally got the screwdriver out, gave it to Will Ospreay. And yeah, you're right. The screwdriver has been a big story beat or foreign object in AEW television recently, with the Blackpool Combat Club using it, and it's been like this ongoing weapon that's used all the time for the heels. I'm with you. When I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, Will Ospreay's going to win dirty here. But yes, he's going to win the title now. It's going to add a lot of heat, as you said, like reasoning for, okay, I can see Kenny Omega coming back probably in a couple weeks after he heals up and says, Will Ospreay, you defeated me, not fair and square. I demand we have a third match and let's settle this at Wembley or something like that. I'm with you.
But,
that could have been the motivation right there.
But he really can't say that because technically Will Ospreay did beat him fair and square. Because after the stabbing with the screwdriver, he's able to kick out. He was able to fight through adversity and make a comeback, right? But in the end, Ospreay just beat him flat with his finish right in the middle of the ring. So what's the issue? There's no heat coming out of that. This is like a video game match. Ultimately, it was a great pro wrestling match until it became like an end of a video game. Like when what's his name? Ospreay hits Omega with the not the V trigger, the one wing angel, and Omega kicks out at one. Isn't this supposed to be the most vicious maneuver that no one fucking kicks out of, but you can?
Protected.
That sounds like a very video game thing to do. Like only the guy with his own powers can kick out of the, can survive the sonic boom blast. So stupid.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. He was like hulking up there. It was just funny seeing Kenny Omega start hulking up, like, yeah, brother, I'm coming back now. But so he kicked out the one. Yeah, it was a good match, and I know, spoiler alert, it's gonna get like probably 8 stars. I would doubt like 7 to 8 stars for sure. Because Dave was asking us in the room, like after it was over, like, was that one of the top 5 matches you've ever seen? Have you seen? And I'm like, no, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was really good until that point. Even Garrett had the same opinion of me. Like, we kind of made fun of the Danielson and Okada match, like when there's like a double count, out. There's a double count on the guys outside, and Garrett's like, well, it's not gonna be the finish because we just saw a guy take a screwdriver and was able to keep fighting through it for another 5 minutes, so it's just, it was excessive, it was brilliant until that point, and I don't know why they decided to go that way with it. I wanted to ask you, so after he kicked out at the 1 count, Omega hit Ospreay with the brainbuster, and then Ospreay hit Omega with that Tiger Driver 91, but I watched that. I was like, oh, I gasped just because he landed. That camera shot perfectly captured, unfortunately, him landing right on his head and neck. And I was like, oh, I was like baffled. I was like, oh my God. I was worried about Kenny Omega. Could he break his neck? I mean, a concussion, something. Kenny Omega, did kick out that pin attempt. And then Ospreay hit Kenny with the hidden blade and then the Stormbreaker. And then, pinned him clean for the win. And now the new IWGP US champion.
And that Tiger Driver 91 was used as the finish because it was so devastating and vicious that Misawa won with it in 91. And then they won with it in 90, brought it back in 94 to beat Kawada in that famous match, which, by the way, is better than this match. And, so he won with it. They just did it to nearly paralyze each other,
that was I really I was scared for Kenny Omega, and I hope he's okay. It's I know that's been a big debate online. I saw Lance Storm tweeting about it, and it's like that. That's something you should not be doing, and just no. Especially for Kenny Omega, this is a contract year for him, and I'm sure he's trying to get a new long-term deal from someone. And if he has a really serious injury like that, or hope, knock on wood, it doesn't lead to a serious injury, but you just got to be careful right now, man, your health, and trying to get another contract. So we'll see what happens there. But let me ask you this. Will Ospreay has won. As we just said, everyone is already talking about the third match. Where do you think that third match should take place? Should it take place at Wembley for All In, end of August? Or should they wait all the way to January of next year for Wrestle Kingdom? Do you have a preference, or do you think there's a better, or maybe somewhere else? Is there another place they should do it?
I like it for All In, but I have a feeling that New Japan the agreement is that New Japan probably wants the final match for them, at the Tokyo Dome is what my guess, Though I think Ospreay's probably, I kind of feel like he's winning the G1 or maybe I don't know. I feel like Ospreay is going to be the champion, IW champion sometime next year. If that's not G1 or not at Tokyo Dome or sometime soon after that. So it all depends. G1 is going to say a lot about what's going to happen with that.
Okay, cool. No, good point there. I think I can see why people want to see Wembley because he is British. So in his home country.
Yeah, he'll be a massive babyface on that card. Well, then again, he was a massive Omega's massive babyface in Toronto. So I don't know. I'm guessing. I feel like All In, but I can see it probably New Japan wanting the rubber match on their cards.
Yeah, I could also see maybe they hold that off for Wrestle Kingdom, and then maybe just jumping ahead already. Maybe alternative Okada lost to Bryan Danielson here, so maybe take the winner of that match versus the winner of this match. So Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay at Wembley. I could see that maybe being a fun match there to main event the show. Just for it's like the two winners.
We got to hope that Danielson can make Wembley Stadium now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay, let's go ahead and talk about the other main event here. The last match to close the show. Okada taking on Bryan Danielson, the battle of best in the world for pro wrestler here. Now, this match was definitely a lot shorter. It was only, 27 minutes, 40 seconds here, which I was kind of surprised, like how fast it kind of went by. Even though I felt the finish was very abrupt, this was definitely more old school wrestling, grappling in the ring. Of course, it has its moments where Okada does the drop kick, and that's where like things turn momentum wise in his favor. Still a lot of fun. I guess the reports came out that Bryan Danielson fractured his arm about 10 minutes into this bout. So God, give him credit for finishing that match with the bad arm there. Yeah. I thought the finish was very abrupt when Bryan Danielson submitted Okada and Okada tapped out. I think the first time he's tapped out since 2015 against Shinsuke Nakamura. So it is a big deal. I was shocked. But yeah, what were some of your thoughts about this main event here?
I thought it was a good match. Of course, the finish, like you said, happened abruptly. I think that had a lot to do with the injury of Bryan Danielson's fractured forearm. I don't think he could get the label lock the way he wanted to or something like that. Maybe that's why he went with that. But it just wasn't. It felt like with this dream match, they probably would have wanted to build to a more exciting finish, and it just kind of happened. So I'm guessing it was a point where they just had to go home, and maybe the time of the pay-per-view was getting kind of close to the end of the time too. So it was a really good match. Did it live up to the dream match? Are we going to be talking about this match for decades and to come? Probably not. But I think they do a second match, it'll be even better if everyone's healthy. I just can't believe Danielson hurt his arm on the flying elbow from Okada. I'm surprised he didn't have his arms tucked to his side. It's like it's almost like of all the things for Danielson to get hurt on. I gotta watch again how far his arms are out, but apparently that's what happened. He was on the elbow drop from Okada. He had his arms out, and that's why you're supposed to put your arms in so you don't get your arm broke. So yeah, it's like a guy like that would make a crucial fundamental mistake like that. It's just interesting to me. So, but I'll have to go back and watch it if I can.
Yeah. I know Bryan Danielson, it's been reported he's been wrestling kind of banged up, just kind of battling some injuries. So he's only wrestled twice in the last couple months. I mean, the Iron Man match with MJF back at March at Revolution here at the Chase Center, and then Anarchy in the Arena for Double or Nothing last month, and then this Okada match. So 3 matches in a little under 3 months. So, but yeah, now he's out about 6 to 8 weeks to recover from this fractured arm. So hopefully he'll be back in time for All In at the end of Wembley. That is in about 2 months. So hopefully, heals up properly, drinks a lot of milk, build up his strength in his bones. But
do you think this match should have been put in the Ospreay Omega spot? and then
they
just flipped it around because I just thought like there's just more. It was more heat going into the match or more anticipation. Yes, it's a dream match, but I think with that crowd, the hometown crowd, Toronto. And, Ospreay just doing that promo about how he thinks Canadians are idiots or whatever, all Canadians suck or whatever he's doing. And then I just think there's just more. I think the crowd was like, yay, this is cool for Okada and Danielson. But ultimately, the true match they really want to see was Ospreay and Omega.
Yeah, I mean, even the video package I was digging as far as Will Ospreay says, Kenny Omega, I'm back to get my revenge. Like, I was like, whoa. I felt that. I was like, I believe it because, I mean, there's so much history there. Like Kenny Omega left and like Will Ospreay kind of took his spot there in New Japan and kind of similar styles. And there's just there's just, a lot of jealousy, if you want to put it that way, as far as from a story standpoint, character standpoint. So, I mean, it writes itself. Like, yeah. And plus there's a title on the line too. So I would think a main event should have some sort of title belt included. So no, I could totally agree. I wish they kind of would have flipped things around, but I mean, I get it. Okada is the biggest name in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Bryan Danielson arguably is the best wrestler in the world, and he's a big face for AEW. So I could see why they just may want to end the show with those two instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, the finish was kind of abrupt. One thing that kind of caught me off guard, and I think this was also another discussion, was about towards the end of the match, Bryan Danielson is faking, like, I don't know, a seizure is the word, or convulsing on the mat there. Like he's shaking, like something's wrong with him. And it just turned to me, just felt very awkward. The ref was like trying to check on him. And then Okada came over. I don't know if there was like a little bit of a language, situation here. But Okada, like, more or less kind of pushed the ref to the side and says, I don't care, and picked up Bryan Danielson and just started beating him up some more. That turns like another debate online as far as, was that in good taste on Bryan Danielson's part to fake? And then he obviously was faking it because then he was able to start kicking Okada, but then Okada got the drop kick in as well. So a lot of people were just kind of wondering if that kind of in bad taste on Bryan Danielson's part to fake an injury like that. What were your thoughts on that one?
I mean, for me, I didn't have a problem with it. I knew it was BS right away because just there was no sense of urgency from anyone. Like the referee was, that referee, Bryce Remsburg, he's just a big clown, like hot dogger out there. He should be a professional mime in Central Park, but he's the referee. And then, he was just kind of, doing his thing. And then the doctor came in. He didn't seem like a sense of urgency. He came in and looked, but it was like, so I didn't really believe it. So I wasn't fed. But a lot of people, and when I watched it live they were kind of like, oh, that's going to make me uneasy. And I'm like, oh, really? Because I know they know the history of Danielson and stuff, but I was fine with it. But I know a lot of people had an issue with it.
Yeah, for me, it just kind of awkward. It was like, oh, what's going on? But the fact that they kept filming it, I was like, okay, must be a work. The fact that the camera stayed on it and didn't like cut away or something like that, I was like, okay, this must be a work here. I just get worried because
if a guy's going to convulsions, they're calling that match right away,
Yeah. For me, with his history of concussions and just, he is very beat up, and since he came out of retirement, this has all just been like, just extra, what's the word? Not borrowed time, but it's just been all extra goodness that he's been able to keep wrestling all these extra years when we all thought he was done for years ago. But so the fact that he's still wrestling now after retirement, coming out of retirement, it's just been a real joy. So I think we just want to see him get as many matches as he can get on this second go round. So I was just worried, like, oh my God, I hope he's not really hurt. I know he is, concussion prone, injury prone. I was just worried about that. So, but yeah, no. So overall, Bryan Danielson picks up the win, though. That is I was shocked. I kind of, the last episode of In The Kliq, I kind of assumed Okada was going to win, but it kind of makes sense. Will Ospreay, New Japan, wins one main event, an AEW guy wins the other main event here. So Bryan Danielson. So I'm sure Bryan Danielson, even though he's going to be hurt, I'm sure he'll still be on TV. He's while Blackpool Combat Club wrestles, he's always at the commentary table now. So I'm sure he'll be there with a cast on or something. So I'm sure he'll be bragging in his heel form that he beat Okada and he really is the best in the world, and that could play up into some storylines or something. But
that'd be great for a feud with CM Punk if they ever go that route,
Totally. Oh, absolutely. They could totally throw that back in CM Punk's face and stuff. So I'm excited to see what they could do with this. Unfortunately, I don't know what he could do with Blackpool Combat Club, because I feel like them and the Elite, it looks like they're building towards a blood and guts match at some point this summer.
Once that ends. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully he can, come back and participate in that as well at some point. So, but yeah, no, it was still a great match overall. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens here. Yeah, like I said before, maybe Bryan Danielson, if he's healthy for Wembley, maybe he could take on Will Ospreay. I hope he can maybe do some stuff in Japan later on this year. So it's. I just wish him a speedy recovery. All right, now that we got the two main events out of the way, let's go ahead and just power through the rest of the card here. So many matches. We don't need to go play by play, move by move. We'll just kind of give away some of our thoughts on the finishes and where they can go from here. Some character moments happened as well. So I know there was a dark match. Like when I was looking at the Wikipedia results here, I saw the first match listed here. Tom Lawler with Royce Isaac in his corner defeated Serpentico. And I was like, wait, did I miss that match? I thought I tuned in right at the beginning of 0 Hour, but no, I guess that was a dark match. And I guess that was kind of like a last minute make good or replacement for Tom Lawler. He was supposed to have the match with Adam Cole, but Adam Cole unfortunately had the flu.
Yeah.
They told him not to wrestle. Smart move. Don't want to, if the guy's sick, keep him away from everyone. We don't need spread any germs or anything like that. So Tom Lawler still got to wrestle. It was a short match, just a little over 4 minutes. Got the win over Serpentico. And then I'll just power through the rest of these pre-show matches here. So Mogul Embassy defeated Chaos, 8-man tag. Athena defended did not defend ROH Women's Championship. She just had a regular match with Billy Starks. It was part of the Women's Owen Hart Cup tournament first round match. El Phantasmo defeated Stu Grayson, who I think a lot of people were. I didn't realize he was a heel. He has like a new team with the Righteous, formerly of Ring of Honor. So I had no idea.
It's on Ring of Honor. No one's watching it. I mean, it's no one's gonna know. Unless you're like really, die hard. You're watching every little thing that happens out there. Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but Ring of Honor really has become Dark at Elevation now. They just absorbed kind of that concept of just matches with mid-carders or lower tier talent. And it's just match after match after match. And from most people I talk to
for that.
Yeah, you're not missing out on anything.
No. I think it's okay to watch the pay-per-view that happens every few months, but that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then let's see. LIJ took on United Empire in a 6-man tag. Your boy Jeff Cobb got some love there. So yeah, those are the first 5 matches. Did you I forgot to ask you, did you watch the 0 Hour or the pre-show beforehand?
When I got to Meltzer's house, that match I just saw the end of Phantasmo over Stu Grayson, and I saw the United Empire match, and it was
okay.
They're fine. They were there to just. It's like I feel like someone asked when I got there, who was my buddy Jeremy Feinstein, who was there from like when it started, and I was like, how's your hour? He just said basically it's like it just feels like a rampage, just running through matches quickly.
Yeah, that's just a lot of multi-team tag matches here. I will say Athena, I know she's the ROH Women's Champion. I like her, and from what I've heard online and just seen people's reactions, she's doing great work in ROH on the weekly show. She's like a total badass, kicking ass and stuff. But I feel like the masses don't know that she's doing all this. So I don't know. Hopefully she can maybe drop the ROH title and then move on up to, I guess, quote, the main roster and be on AEW television every week now. I kind of went on a little rant last episode. I just feel like I wish AEW would like get some dedicated rosters. I know it's not official, but it's like loosely there's going to be people who can be only on Collision and others only on Dynamite, more or less people who get along with CM Punk or not, aka some of the misfits who don't get along with anyone else. Like that's what Collision's going to be. Point being, I wish Ring of Honor would have just a dedicated roster of talented people that you can only see them in ROH, because I feel like right now too much like fluid back and forth and stuff. I feel like there's a lot of just too much crossover. So I feel like, you know, like the Lucha Brothers, okay, they're the ROH tag team champions, but I can still see them on Dynamite regularly. So why do I need to tune in to ROH for just random matchups there?
I don't know. I don't understand why he even bought. I guess I understand why he bought ROH just for the library, and you feel that's going to be valuable for, you know, but it's just why spend $10 a month to see that TV show? It's just, I mean, maybe your best bet is maybe have it free, so maybe more people might want to tune in and order the pay-per-view, you know? Maybe you can make your money on the pay-per-view, but
I don't know, maybe one day, I don't know if it could happen, maybe just make Rampage the ROH show on TNT, Friday nights, 10 o'clock, and make that just the ROH 1 hour show or something like that. I don't know if that
sounds like Warner Bros. Doesn't want anything to do with ROH, right? If they did, I think it would have been happening already, right?
Yeah, exactly. We'll that is true. So, but no, like I said, the 0 hour was a lot of fun, just kind of getting people amped up for the show. The main show started with MJF, the AEW World Champion, taking on Tanahashi here. I know MJF, I know he had like the robe that said Indie Fed, just say New Japan's an Indie Fed. It's been his big thing. He's like, I even don't want to wrestle Tanahashi. I don't want to be there. He got suckered into it. Adam Cole outsmarted him on Dynamite, saying, "Yeah, you should fight Tanahashi." So this match was set up here. I know probably deep down, MJF was really excited to wrestle a legend, but I know character-wise, he was like, did not want to be there. He didn't care. He wanted to have the first match so he can leave after his match, and he even tweeted out a video. It's like, all right, goodbye, everyone. Like, I'm leaving right now. So what kind of some of your takeaways from this opening match here?
It was a good match. It's Tanahashi's knees are getting so bad that it's kind of getting sad to watch him having to try to explode or run the ropes. But he's a smart worker, so they able to work around it. It was a good match. I thought MJF was fantastic and did a great job with him and with his limitations now, you know, and it's just a solid opener. I enjoyed it, but yeah, it just pardon me because I'm such a huge Tanahashi fan. He's one of my all-time favorites, one of the best I've ever seen, and got, you know, blessed to see him a few times, you know, in person, and you know, just kind of hard to see him. You know, everyone gets older, you know, even all the legends get older. So, but it still was a good quality opener, though.
Yeah, no, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, we saw him a few months ago in San Jose, so that was awesome to see that in person. But yeah, no, he is. Yeah. But yeah, no, he's walking a little slower, definitely. Yeah. Kind of like Matt Hardy-esque, you know, walking kind of stiff. So that's definitely tough to watch. But I think he's, you know, as you said, very smart to kind of know his limitations and work around that. MJF, man, to his credit, I've been really impressed kind of with the in-ring work over the last like 6 months. I know he's gotten really great, tremendous shape leading up to when he won the title. And he's been putting on some great matches, different type of stipulations. You know, the Iron Man match with Bryan Danielson earlier this year, the Fatal 4-Way at Double or Nothing. I think he's been putting on some great matches here. And I think people get caught up with his character work and his constant screaming on the microphone. But his matches as of late, I've been finding more entertaining than I have previously. So I give him credit for kind of going out there and working. But yeah, this match itself, I did enjoy the little detail of when Tanahashi was trying to climb the turnbuckle and, you know, having a little trouble with balance because it is a different style. New Japan is like almost like that boxing style of like the big pads and the wide space to stand on. So I thought that was a little detail Kevin Kelly acknowledged, which, by the way, I forgot to ask you, the thoughts on the broadcasting team, Kevin Kelly, Excalibur, Taz kind of popping in, Shivani taking turns. I'm really excited to see Kevin Kelly do more AEW stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Kelly's been a great boost to that commentary team, the professionalism he brings. And, I think when it comes to when it's Excalibur, Taz, and Shivani, it's like just 2-3 dudes just joke around out there. Just, so I think, Kevin Kelly brings that professionalism.
Yeah, exactly. So no. I thought it was a great opening match here. MJF wins, so he's still AEW World Champion. Next up, CM Punk took on Kojima. This was a first round match for the men's Owen Hart Cup tournament. As you talked about earlier with CM Punk getting booed, I liked how he came out kind of very just confident, just like taking it all in, man. It's like, yeah, you guys are booing me, so what? He kind of just came out still full of confidence. And then the match itself was fine. It wasn't super long. It was about a little over 13 minutes here. But a match that I laughed where he was doing a bunch of lariats with Kojima in the corner and yelling, lariat, Kojima. And I guess I didn't realize that at first, but I guess it's like an inside joke, or with Samoa Joe. Like they had like an old interview with the two of them. I don't know if you see that video clip going around right now.
No.
I'll just send it to you, but I guess there's an old clip of the two of them, CM Punk and Samoa Joe, doing an interview, and they're talking about All Japan and lariat, Kojima. So that's why he's doing that in the corner. I think just to make Samoa Joe laugh in the back. But I know this is not the match I think a lot of people want CM Punk to have. I think a lot of people wanted him to maybe have that Tanahashi match, because that was supposed to happen last year. But instead, they kind of just used him for Owen Hart Cup tournament first round match. So what are your thoughts on this match coming together?
It was another good match. Punk's his first singles match back, so he's not going to go too long. Kojima, he's still in great shape, but he's like 50-something years old as well. So I think for the atmosphere, the crowd, it was a good professional match, and it didn't need to be this instant classic. It was perfectly timed, and of course, Punk's going to go over. Punk's going to win the whole thing because he can't lose, I don't think, right? Like, I
was going to say, he has to be the favorite to win this. They're not going to let him lose.
I think 100% he's winning. I just hope it's going to be Powerhouse Hobbs and him in the finals, which I would like to see. But though I am intrigued by a Ricky Starks versus CM Punk match. So I think that would be really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, a fatal four-way match for the AEW International Championship. Orange Cassidy defending against Zack Sabre Jr., who's the current New Japan Strong TV champion. Shibata, who's the current ROH Pure champion. And Daniel Garcia, the only one not with the title, entering this match. And I knew right away he was going to be the one to eat the pin in this match here. So I know a lot of people really enjoyed this match. Just kind of was all over the place with the four of them in the ring. But ultimately, Orange Cassidy got the pin on Daniel Garcia. Not much else to say here. I don't know anything you thought about this match.
It's not my style. I'm not a big fan of four-way matches. They're all kind of the same. The result was obvious. Who was going to take the pin? People I watched it with really enjoyed it. So expect this to get really big star rating. But to me, it was just a typical four-way match with the it's the same finish in any four-way match. It's like one guy is going to take advantage of someone else's move and steal the pin. And this time a Bayface did it. And when this happens to WWE, people shit on it. Like, oh, it's the same old thing. It always happens, these four-way matches. Because WWE does a lot of multi-man matches for sure. It's but like, it's the same thing. That's just that's how you got to do these multi-man matches, right? Like, it's just the nature of the beast of having a match where everyone's in the ring at one time. So
yeah, exactly. So I mean, like you said, Daniel Garcia was the only one who didn't have a championship, so it was easy for him to take the pin, and then the other two guys still looked strong. And then I know it was Orange Cassidy and Shibata celebrated afterwards. But I will say Garcia, though, I know a lot of people are liking. He was being entertaining. He's been kind of doing more of the dance moves and stuff, showing a little more personality, especially the more time he spends around Chris Jericho and the Jericho Appreciation Society. I'm still kind of bummed that we never got to see him and Bryan Danielson. Remember, they had that little bit of allegiance going for a bit, but then he ultimately turned on him and still stayed with Chris Jericho. I was kind of hoping that he would stay with Bryan Danielson and enjoy the Blackpool Combat Club. I mean, maybe one day he could, but what are your kind of thoughts on Daniel Garcia kind of staying with Jericho after all this time and kind of developing a little more sports entertainment personality in the ring?
I figured that this alliance with Jericho would help him out more. To me, I feel like they kind of pulled away from the Dan Garcia push in AEW. I know he's on this pay-per-view and you're probably saying, well, he's on this pay-per-view. Well, he wasn't originally on this pay-per-view, right? This match changed multiple times. And they just figured this guy can lose. That's pretty much what happened. And then, so I just thought, there's so much they could have done with, especially with this Sammy turning babyface, and Jericho could be favoring Garcia more, and Sammy's the old toy, and now Jericho has a new young star he can leech off of. Like, they could have had some great television, but it's just all this. Garcia's just kind of, remember, he was on almost on every show, like every main event for a very long time on Dynamite, and now he's kind of just there, and he kind of just popped up to be in this match. So, he's good. He's a good talent. They should probably focus on him more. He's a good young talent, but I see I don't expect more out of him after this show. I expect him to be stuck on ROH, and he'll be on that pay-per-view wrestling Shibata again or something like that. Yeah,
no, you're right. I mean, well, that could be said about a lot of wrestlers on that roster right now.
Yes,
just kind of, they just exist and not doing much. And I wish there could be some more story beats that could be telling. But then again, I'm hopeful. I want to be optimistic. That's why Collision's there. Collision can, some of the roster can be featured over there more. Some people, men and women, can get more screen time. Hopefully they can develop some more storylines and character moments. I want to be hopeful. I want to be optimistic about this show. I've liked the first 2 weeks, the first 2 episodes of Collision. I'm hopeful they'll kind of do more of that and just build off that and just, call me old school. I'm a sucker for emotional storylines and caring about these wrestlers. So,
I hear you.
All right, next up for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, it was Sonata defending against Jungle Boy. Man, I think a lot of people were just really shocked to see that the IWGP Championship was just featured in the middle of the show, which is, for a lot of people, it's the most prestigious championship in all of pro wrestling, but it's in the middle. But unfortunately, Sonata is the current champion, but he's not the most popular over guy in that company right now. When you got Okada and Will Ospreay, kind of the real focus of this show, those two guys, their matches are going to be featured towards the end. Versus Jungle Boy, I was like, okay, Jungle Boy just lost at Double or Nothing a month ago, and I don't know, I wasn't really buying the two of them going at it. What do you think about this matchup just kind of coming up out of nowhere?
Yeah, I mean, Sonata is not as big a star as Okada, Naito, Tanahashi, Ospreay, of course, but he's good and he's a world champion. It's just wrestling Jungle Boy is not a feat. He wrestled. He's a mid-carder basically challenging Sonata for the title, right? So Sonata wrestled it just like a world champion would wrestle a mid-carder, right? He gave some stuff, but ultimately, he was never in danger, and he won convincing and just strolled walking out like whatever. I mean, he even did that interview in translation for Japan where he said that, and who Jungle Boy was. Like, why is this guy challenging me?
That's right.
So it was just really funny. But it was a mid-card match with champion wrestling a mid-card. It almost could be just wrestled like a non-title match, basically.
Exactly. And then so we saw Jungle Boy spike Sonata with a reverse Hurricanrana, but then Sonata counter with a second attempt at a Poison Rana, and then a Shining Wizard for a 2 count on Jungle Boy, but then Sonata hit the moonsault press, pinned Jungle Boy, picked up the win, retained the championship. He leaves the ring, poses at the top of the ramp. After the match, you see Hook, who's in the corner of Jungle Boy, trying to help him up, go out of the ring. They start walking away, and the camera was just staying on them. And I'm like, okay, something's going to happen. Yeah. But then they cut to the announcers. They start talking. I'm like, oh, I guess nothing's going to happen. And then they cut back to them again as they got to the top of the ramp. And then sure enough, Jungle Boy turns heel, clothesline Hook, lays him out. Taz, who's doing commentary, who's Hook's father, sitting there extremely angry, seeing his son get beat up, but he's trying to be a professional. And it's like, he knows this is his son's battle. He's not going to step in, but you could tell the crowd wanted Taz to get up and kick some ass. So yeah, Jungle Boy's finally looks like turning heel, something that out of the blue, I felt like the last few weeks, everyone keeps saying, oh, he's going to turn heel. He's going to turn heel. And I'm like, why? Like, what is this? Is it because he lost at Double or Nothing, the Fatal 4-Way for the title, AEW title? I guess everyone just assumed he's just pissed off that he hasn't won a title. His counterparts, Luchasaurus won a TNT championship. Christian's won titles already. So I guess other people around him who've gone to the dark side have won. And he hasn't won anything, so he's just desperate now. I'm like, what? Can you explain? Yeah, Jungle Boy's maybe potential reason here. I'm sure we'll get maybe more on Dynamite, but maybe your perspective of what led to this.
I think as a singles, he hasn't won the big one. He's been falling short. Now he's just, everyone's like you said, everyone's taking shortcuts. His former tag team partner is with association with Christian. To me, this is kind of like just happened. It's very basic turn. He turned on Hook, who he's teamed up with like twice, maybe 3 times. Yeah. So there's no history there, no real history. Like, oh, how could he turn on Hook? They're such great friends. No, they just, just got together, as a team. So, yeah. And then what? You got a guy that hopefully Hook will start doing promos now. Yeah, a guy doesn't talk. You got a guy that doesn't like to do promos. But I'm optimistic that hopefully Jack Perry could be a good heel, We'll see. Maybe does he end up back with Christian and hit that wing again? And after all that they did at Revolution or whatever the hell that was in San Francisco, they're going to put him back together. I just think they never really booked Jungle Boy correctly. They finally won the tag team titles, and after they won it, they had nothing for them. They weren't even barely on TV. They were in a feature. There wasn't, Jungle Boy he's easy. He's people love that guy. They want to cheer him. He's such an unbelievable underdog, and they would kind of start and stop it. So he never really reached his potential as a babyface first, So I just think it's like Tony's just getting like, oh, I got to do something with it. I got to change it up. But it's because it's been 4 years. Well, it's been 4 years, but he could have been so much more within that 4 years before. Within that first 2 years, he could have been so much more. He could be one of the most lovable babyfaces you have.
Yeah, no, you're right. I thought when Jungle Boy signed with AEW, I saw firsthand of the great work you were doing with him in APW, the way you were booking him. Like we were joking off the air. I still think you were the best one to book him in his wrestling career to this day. You've done a better job booking him than Tony Khan has, but it's Jungle Boy, you're right. He has like that look of like this underdog that you want to cheer for. He can overcome the odds, maybe some bigger competitors, and pull out some gutted victories. And yeah, they really haven't tapped into that too much. Yeah. They did a little bit. I think, he had the match with MJF early on within the first or second year of AEW's existence. I'm trying to remember. He had some matches like that. And then he got really kind of focused more on the tag team stuff with Luchasaurus and the Christian stuff. And that ran for a really long time. So maybe you can argue that's why his momentum just kind of stopped. He was so focused on the Christian stuff, but you're right. Jungle Boy.
I love that casket match they had. I thought that was fantastic, but after it was over, he just never gained that momentum, and he just kind of thrusted in that Pillars match, for the title, which he wasn't ready for at that point.
Well, and that thing was so convoluted. Like the motivation, the promos in the ring were awkward, and it was a really poorly just build to that fatal 4-way match, but that's a whole nother story. But no, you're right. With Jungle Boy, I felt, you would think by year 4, he could be this lovable underdog who's like overcome so much and accomplished a lot that by now he be a no-brainer to be in the main event scene right now. But yeah, you're right. They just really poorly booked him the last couple years. And so not really care. Yeah. And so, but then again, you can make the argument he's never really developed like a strong personality. He doesn't cut the best promos. He's not the best talker. He's kind of just done the same thing for the last 4 years on cable television, but he was doing that even beforehand on the indie scene. So I'm excited about this heel turn. I'm curious where they can go. Do they like cut his hair? Does he get new music, a new look? Does he actually start cutting better promos? But does he align himself with his real life girlfriend Anna Jay, and like they do like
I would do that.
Yeah, so I'm excited that maybe this will give him some character work and he can actually develop a really strong personality that people can really get invested in. So that's what I'm hopeful for with the heel turn. It's something fresh, a fresh start. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see with that. All right. Next up with the 10-man tag team match, the Elite taking on the Blackpool Combat Club here. The Elite had, Hangman and the Young Bucks along with Eddie Kingston and Ishii. And the BCC also had Takesha, who's, I guess, not an official member of Blackpool Combat Club, but since he is an AEW and he hates Kenny Omega, they both have the same common enemy, their hatred for Kenny Omega. So they just kind of align themselves. And plus they use screwdrivers too and all that stuff. And then Umino, am I pronouncing his name? Yeah. Like Moxley's little, Moxley's protege from New Japan. So it was interesting seeing Blackpool Combat Club come out. Is that Moxie's theme song from New Japan?
The Death Rider theme song, I believe it's called. Or
gotcha.
Something like that. Effect. Yeah.
I knew this match was going to be kind of crazy, just 5-on-5 here. Any takeaways from this one for you?
I'm getting a lot of feedback on Twitter because I said it had a very thin story, but to me it did. Like all of a sudden Eddie Kingston just shows up and wants to be part of this. He wants a team because he wants to get Claudio, and all this whole Claudio Eddie Kingston feud came about from Chikara from years ago. Yeah, some small promotion that's closed down because of the Me Too movement. Who cares? Like, and then you have the moment in the match where Eddie Kingston takes the bullet for his friend Moxley. Like, what's the story there? Like, what did Eddie Kingston go like? Hey, I want to team with you guys because I want to beat Claudio, but I'm not going to do anything to Moxley. What was like? Well, then we're not going to team with you, bro. If you're not going to want to win the match. And then like when Moxley ended up hitting the cutter on Kingston or whatever it was and pinning him, it was like this big shocking moment. I don't know. Moxley just wants to win a match. What's so shocking about it, right? Kingston was an idiot if he was trying to protect Moxley. It was just too convoluted. I wouldn't have even put Kingston in this spot at this time, because Kingston's going into G1 anyways. He's going to be gone in the month of February and July and August because he's involved in that. So he's going to be on tour for weeks.
And he also was arguing with the Elite on at ringside, but also he got the super kick right on accident. You're right. It was a very convoluted match and everyone's motivation. But I get the story you're trying to tell is like Eddie Kingston hates Claudio, wants to take out Claudio, but he belongs to a faction that his best friend is a part of in John Moxley. So, but you're right. Kind of the way they're explaining that, it just, I don't know. I think a lot of people were a little disappointed Eddie Kingston was the one who made the save. What was it? I guess be 2 weeks ago now. And I think everyone's still waiting for Kenny Omega's friend, Ibushi or
Kota Ibushi.
Kota Ibushi, yeah. Everyone's waiting for Kota Ibushi to show up. I don't know when he's going to show up, if ever. But I know when Eddie Kingston came running down, a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's going to be him as like the next member to help out." So maybe they could save that for Wembley Stadium or something like that. So
possibly that could be a big match. What about like Ishii getting the pin? I know my friend Jack is going to be upset about that, but I'm not dogging on Ishii. It's just, why can't Takeshita get the pin here?
Yeah,
continue his, just like give him a big win on pay-per-view. This this guy barely wins on television, before.
Dude, Takesha laying out Ishii like early in the match, that was a pretty hard spot. I enjoy that. Seeing Ishii kind of laid out there on the apron. I thought that was cool.
I'm digging this Takesha look as a heel. I think it looks fantastic. It looks like a main eventer. I also thought he could have been a main eventer babyface, but they never just kept have him lose the whole time. But no, I thought for sure, why not on a pay-per-view take advantage of having your guy take the win? I guess maybe it was like a deal like, we got to be even with the New Japan guys got to win and the AEW guys got to win. But like, this is like a match that had everyone in it. So it's not really AEW versus New Japan. It's just there happen to be New Japan guys on each team.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're right. I think Takesha looks awesome now, kind of with this heel turn, and Don Callis representing him. And Don Callis is doing a great job selling him, saying, he's better than Kenny Omega. He's better than Okada. And then like some of the stuff he said in the press, some of his quotes. I don't know if you saw some of those quotes. Takesha, he walks in a room, but his member was there 2 minutes earlier. So Don Callis doing a great job putting over Takesha. So you're right. No, I wish Takesha would have had a bigger role in this match here to really set him off as a big star for this company. So we'll see if they can bounce back. I mean, I feel like there's always this. I watch these pay-per-views. I'm always like, I wish they would do this. Or what if they did this? And I don't know. It's just a little frustrating. All right. Next up, Toni Storm defending the AEW Women's Championship against Willow Nightingale. She's the current New Japan Strong Women's Champion here. Solid match here. I was watching it and doing a bunch of stuff at the same time, and it was a good, decent, hard hitting match. I love Willow Nightingale. I still hope she will become the face of the women's division soon. But Toni Storm, she's been, a lot of people have been praising her ever since she won the AEW Women's Championship. She's been doing a lot of great stuff, putting on some great matches here. The whole Outcast group, I still wish the Outcast group would have evolved into like a little bit of a bigger faction. Like I wish Athena would join and maybe get someone else, be like a 5-woman former WWE wrestlers faction, and they take on 5 OG AEW women. And I was hopeful this would lead to like a blood and guts women's match, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Outcasts are just going to stay being a 3-piece. But anything else from this match that kind of stood out for you?
I was just thinking about Athena and the Outcasts. I just think people want Athena on ROH and away from everyone. Like it's kind of like the vibe I heard about in WWE too. Like when she came to NXT, everyone's like, "Can we just send her back?" Like no one wanted her around. But this match here, like you, is like it's a long show. We knew the bigger matches are coming up. It was the time to stretch the legs and. Yeah, you start chit-chatting more about other things other than wrestling that people are watching with. And so I can't really give a full opinion on it other than I saw some stuff. It looked decent. I like Willow. I like Tony. I like both of them a lot. No disrespect to them. It's a long show, and there's times you got to go to the bathroom, and, that's probably going to be one of the matches we're going to do that. So,
yeah, I hear you.
I feel bad. I mean, if it wasn't such a long show, I probably would have sat there and watched it in more detail. So
exactly,
not knocking on them,
Yeah, exactly.
I love them.
It's just a long show.
I love Willow especially.
Yeah, yes. Totally. I got to meet Willow a couple months ago. Extremely nice. She is so nice. I cannot say enough good things about her. Yeah. And then let's see. Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega was next. We talked about that and plenty earlier in the show. And then before Bryan Danielson and Okada, we had the 6-man tag team match. Sting, Darby Allin, and Naito taking on Lezuki Gods, Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki here. I get why it was placed where it was in between these two big, hard-hitting, banger co-main event matches here. This match, a little sloppy at times, a little chaotic at times. You got Sting here, who's not going to do much. Took a really nasty table spot, was a 450 from Sammy Guevara off the top ropes on the table on the outside, which the fact that he was trying to move out of the way, I think he was supposed to move and Sammy was supposed to go through that table by himself. But yeah, Sammy took out Sting, and Sting, that was painful to watch.
On his ribs, because Sting was trying to get off that table and turn to his right to get off the table, and Sammy just comes down so fast and crushed his ribs. And yeah, he was supposed to get off faster, but the guy's 64 years old. Why are you doing that?
Jeez,
did Sammy nearly kill him with some kind of cutter earlier?
Yeah, that too. I mean, Sting took a couple spots here. I was like, ooh. But even Sammy Guevara, he's done that table spot before, a 450 through a table by himself. I'm like, why do you keep doing that? I mean, between that Tiger Driver 91.
Crazy.
But the Tiger Driver.
You got to stand out. He's trying to stand out. They're in a dead spot. They're all trying to stand out. But Jesus, man, you're going to kill Sting. Oh,
man. But, yeah, so this match, I mean, Naito, he didn't even take his shirt off at all in this match. That was empty.
So, okay, check this out, right? Remember the big build? Oh my gosh. Sting and Jericho have never been in a ring together in a match. So I know what we'll do. The first match, we'll throw Minoru Suzuki and Naito in there. Right? The cloud up everything. No, this match did not need to be on this pay-per-view. This match could have been a great special match to pull a Dynamite rating, I don't think, it's because that's what I would have done with that. I would put it on a free TV because no one's really spending money to see Sting at this point on pay-per-view or even Jericho, really, Yeah. And then Naito's just there because he's there. And then Suzuki's there because it's the New Japan versus AEW theme. My goodness gracious. This is just ridiculous. And then coming up on Dynamite this week is going to be Sting and Darby versus Sammy and Jericho in a tornado tag team match.
Mm-hmm. That came after Sting and Darby doing the media scrum with Tony Khan, and Jericho came rushing in with the bat and demanded a match. So that's led to the match on Dynamite this week. But
So basically, Tony Khan's like, you know what? We didn't kill Sting on this Sunday. We're gonna kill him on Wednesday. Right? Why was Sting doing this? Horrible.
Yeah. No. By the way, I do want to correct myself. I said 450. It was a 630 splash Sammy Guevara did from the top turnbuckle through the table. And that's, remember, after Jericho demanded Sammy get up on the turnbuckle and do the move. But yeah, then Naito ran into Suzuki with a sliding lariat and pinned him. So yeah, good guys got the win here. Yeah, no, this match, it didn't really need it. I mean, I get the draw is Sting versus Jericho, but Sting can't do really singles matches anymore. He needs a tag team or a mixed or 6-person tag or something. So we'll see what happens.
Want to do single matches no more. He says he's not going to do any more single matches. He needs to do tag matches. And again, be on the show, being overshadowed by so many other things. Like I said, this could be a special match for Dynamite.
Yeah,
easy.
Exactly. Well, we know this is kind of the end of Sting's run here. As you said, he's in his 60s. It was cool to come out with the Joker-esque face paint that he used to do in TNA Impact Wrestling. But this match probably wasn't really needed here, but I think they just probably wanted a way to get Naito and Suzuki on the card as well. So, which, by the way, that was the other thing too, is you brought up a good point. I saw you tweet out, Suzuki, he's like a face, a badass baby face, but he's teaming with two heels here, right? That's something I think I saw you tweet out, right?
Yeah, he's like a universally loved legend.
Yeah.
And so he's a hired gun that's going to get cheered by the fans. So stupid.
Exactly. Oh, man.
He's out there beating up Darby and people are cheering for him. No, you're supposed to cheer Darby, you idiots.
Oh, that's why I love you, John. You tell it like it is and tell logic, the logic and just head scratching moments. You're like, what? No, overall, very fun. I know for a lot of people, they're saying this is maybe AEW's best show ever or show of the year, some matches of the year contenders, which for me, great. If you enjoy it like that, that's awesome. More power to you. I'm not going to crap on what your enjoyment is. I mean, it was a fun show to watch. I had a lot of fun watching it. A lot of great moments here that I took in. And, I just hope now the momentum from this show, the positive outcome from this, and the fact CM Punk's back, you got Collision, you got Wembley coming up. I really hope AEW does some good things, use this momentum for some good stuff this summer. And I hope it's not summer of Punk, but summer of AEW. I want to be optimistic about that. So that's what I'm going for as a wrestling fan. I feel like if they do good, everyone does good. So it should be a lot of fun. But John, anything else from this show that stood out for you, or any takeaways?
I think we covered it all. And like I said, I enjoyed it overall. And I'm just being critical as a critic, not bashing anything, though it might sound, sometimes it just boggles my mind. I just get frustrated. But but overall, I enjoyed it. I had a good time. My friends watching the show, and that's what it's all about, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Watching pro wrestling with others always makes it a lot more fun. So, all right, then. Well, on that note, let's start wrapping things up. John, where can the Kliqsters find you online?
They can find me on Twitter at LaRoccaJL. I'm on the Fight Game podcast with Gary Gonzalez. You have to be a subscriber to the Observer to listen to our show because it's behind the paywall again. So that's why I've been tweeting out my thoughts more. I used to hold back for the show, but now I can just go on Twitter and say my initial thoughts on when I watch whatever wrestling I watch. And I also have a Take It Home podcast on the Fight Game Free Feed Network. I haven't figured out my subject this week yet, but I'm sure going to be talking about some booking of AEW of late, probably. Or I don't know, maybe WWE. I'm pretty excited for what's going to happen this weekend too.
Yeah, no, Money in the Bank this weekend, and then Gold Rush weekend or week 2 on NXT this week. So
that's right.
There's a lot of good stuff this week. Maybe, I don't know, just throwing it out there. You were talking about 91 and 94, the Tiger Driver. Maybe you could talk about those matches. I'm just throwing it out there, making up stuff for you. But all right, I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey 83. For everything else, follow us at In The Kliq on social media. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts at. If you subscribe to us on YouTube, please watch the videos, give them a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the podcast. Apple Podcasts gives a 5-star rating, leave a review there. All that stuff helps, as you know, with all the algorithm, all that stuff. So if you want to email me, inthekliq@gmail.com. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line because Huey said so.